Hey guys, I've got 3 interviews for you today, uncut. Shari, Diaz, and Kate Robards. Their podcast is called Cheaters and Backstabbers. You can find it on iHeartRadio. And then we're going to jump into some fun. A couple of people that are starring on MTV's The Challenge. They're in season number 40 already. Kaycee Clark and Devin Walker. And our final conversation is with Fred Trump. Yep, I said it, Fred Trump, the nephew of Donald Trump. But his book really isn't what you think it is. Thanks for supporting the show. Mr. Michael. No, I didn't. I'm sorry.
Okay, I know I said you're a great conversationalist, but I said I'm not saying that because you could hear me.
Okay.
All right, you'll have till just before 50 with the ladies. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning, you two, or maybe I should call you, how are you doing, you two little daredevils, to bring such subjects to life for everybody?
You know, we're in our superhero costumes over here. The cheaters and backstabbers superheroes. We're doing great.
Everyone.
You've got a heck of a subject here that I know that people are going to do what I call sneak listening. They're going to sneak in and listen to it, but they're not going to talk about what they took in.
Ooh, I like that. Sneaky.
And the reason why is because we've either cheated or we've thought about cheating. Everybody can relate with these subjects.
Amen. Look at you are proud. Arrow, I think you're honest because so many people are like, I could never. And I'm like, oh, could you never? Have you never told a lie in your life?
Have you never cheated on Uno?
You never cheated on Uno. I got caught cheating on Uno on a church trip.
Oh, God.
I was sitting on some of the wild cards.
Where did the idea come from to create the podcast Cheaters and Backstabbers? Because, I mean, it's one of those subjects that it's taboo, but it's not taboo. And you guys do it in a way that's very tasteful.
Thank you. We really like to think of ourselves as quite tasteful, quite high class. We're not trying to do anything to embarrass our family members, but also we just want to remind people that no one's above it and nobody is above being perfect and always having class. And that's actually classy to admit it. You know, I think it's like we hear the craziest things in our home lives. And what do you say at the table? Pass the butter, pass the salt, pass the pepper. You know, somebody did something, somebody's husband just left them for the kid's school teacher. Pass the salt, please.
Wow. I've always believed that television and movies are the ones that inspire people to take a chance because you see it going on TV and in 25 minutes everybody is laughing and they're all lovable again. And yet that experience has already made the damage.
I think before television we had stories, you know, and oral stories. And I love that people, I mean, in my life, at least, I grew up super conservative Christian in rural Texas. You know, we would be told, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. And I got older and was like, everyone who told me not to do these things were doing all these crazy, horrible things. And I'd like to name them by name on my podcast. And no, but I like that some people can say, like, I made a mistake or someone else made a mistake. I don't think they're the worst person in the world that deserves to die. In fact, I've gone on living, you know, that's a whole different podcast, Snapped, which one of our producers has worked on. But yeah, I think we want to show stories of growth and being able to laugh at the idiotic motivations, because that's the other thing is no villain thinks they're a villain. They all have motivations to excuse their behavior.
You know, one of the things that I always have to laugh about is that the poor personal trainers, they've got such a bad rap. I'm a personal trainer. Oh, you cheat on people? Oh, they always get a bad rap.
And why do you think that is, Arrow? Because
they're up close and personal working out, and sometimes they can take it too far. I've seen those TV shows.
It's a trope. So do you have a hot body? Do you have like a trainer body?
No. Maybe at one time during my Taekwondo days, but no.
Do you believe those who cannot do teach?
I do. And here's, I think it's a power complex because being in martial arts, one of the things that I ran into a couple of times with my masters and Sabanims was that they were the cheaters because they had the power over people.
The power dynamic. I mean, I'm dating someone who is a personal trainer and said that he gained weight because he didn't like to be objectified. So maybe that's why you did it, Arrow.
Just so that people don't think?
So he was cheating on his diet. Maybe you're cheating on your diet. What's your favorite food? No.
Now, if I'm cheating on anything, I'm cheating on the fact that my creativity is out of control, and I do everything possible to get that thing under control. So I have to cheat on other things so I can calm that monster down.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Like what?
You guys are creative. Come on, it hits you any place, anytime. Your next thought, your next show, and you can't turn that thing off.
So you're supposed to be at work right now. You're hosting, these podcast people, and you're actually writing down your own ideas. Is that what you're telling us?
Absolutely, 24/7.
He's not even listening to us.
This is AI. This is AI.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
I mean, when you've got a story that really, like with Black Rose, I mean, we're talking about this is the thing that I've always wondered about. Men or women go into a relationship knowing the person they're going to be with is a cheater, and yet they still go into it. I mean, are they trying to fix them?
Yes,
they are.
Yeah, I think that's big, especially now. People who don't go to therapy, or people who haven't healed their own stuff, like they're looking for something that they've lacked, I think, whether it be in childhood or in past relationships. You go into wanting to help people, but, I feel like we attract who we are in that moment. And maybe just a little something about Black Rose was like, if I can't fix myself, I need to fix this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not a doctor, but today I am.
For me, when she taught us this really great term, which was a hobosexual. And I don't know if that is okay to say, but it is like someone who is looking for a home and a meal, and that's why they're dating. And I just thought, oh my gosh, especially in New York, you will meet people who have these unhoused situations, and they're just couch crashing, and they're just, living every day by the fullest. And I'm like, oh, wait, was I that at one point? So sometimes I listen to stories, I'm like, and I try not to incriminate myself, but I'm like, wait, have I gone on a date because I'm like, would love a steak right now? No. It's not about us. The show isn't about us. We like to put other people on the spot, and Black Rose is one of those amazing examples of resilience. And we have some upcoming episodes that have, musicians who've written songs about what they've been through. And I think that's what I really love, is that everyone has turned something that could be a negative into a positive.
Yeah.
That we speak to.
I know that with musicians, I call that hidden speak. When they write those songs about relationships that they've had, and they don't want to identify who it was with, they'll use hidden speak as a different way of writing, so that they know the story, but somebody who knows them won't understand the story.
And that's a new vocabulary term for us. Hidden speak?
I call it hidden speak. And so I'm very guilty of hidden speak when it comes to my writing, because there are things that I don't want to deal with. And, I live by the winning is a choice. And if I'm being negative in my daily writing, I can use hidden speak to get me back to a positive.
I love that.
I told you, it's an addiction to creativity. I'm cheating on it every day.
That's right. And I'm also going to say, this is why whenever someone's like a little too convoluted about something and they don't fess up to it themselves, and they're like, oh, a friend. I'm like, wink, wink, a friend, Arrow. Sure. You're using hidden speak. See, these are the clues we're on to, right? It's like, if they know this story so well, why do they know it so well? I think it's more about poking holes into everything, always questioning it, not knowing an answer, but following that instinct of, what is the story here, Arrow? What is this creative thing that you're cheating on? Is this thing a person? Is your imagination, is it like do you think of your creativity as an imaginary friend?
Of course.
I see.
Yeah, I do.
There's in your photo, you're hugging something. What is that?
That's a coup stick. Coup stick's a Native American spirituality. That is, I can walk up to my enemy, touch them with that coup stick, and I've shown confidence and courage and forgiveness.
Oh, that's beautiful. I thought it looked a little bit like one of those dolls, that people get obsessed with. But your description was so much more beautiful.
When you go into a conversation, especially with these private investigators, how do you show prep for things like this? Because they're going to bring something that you didn't expect.
Well, we spend extensive time. I think before this podcast, we really thought we were professional private investigators, and we thought we were equipped to be lawyers, and we thought that we were equipped to be relationship experts. I think we can't wait to get all these honorary degrees once the podcast has been on for 50 years. And until then, we're students of the world. Shadi and I are always like you. We always have a pen and paper. We're always writing stuff down. We're always trying to learn. And for us, it's like I think we both harbor, I don't want to speak for you, but don't you think we could really be private investigators, Shadi?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I definitely have a degree in it. My friends used to call me SBI, and the acronym is Shadi Be Knowing or Shadi Be Investigating, because like my friends would be like, look, I think my man is at this club. Can you help me out? And I'd be like, I'm on it. And I'll be on my laptop and then on Instagram. I was like, yup, they're there. Here they are. And they were like, yo, you're pretty good. So I think I do have experience. And
you have the trench coat. You have a trench coat and the hat.
I mean, you've seen my trench coats and my hats, my fedora hats and my glasses. You never know. I might be behind you watching.
And we also know the tricks people use. Like someone was saying, if they're cheating, they wear an outfit from the 90s. So that they can say, that's an old picture. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? They make sure they're like, no. So people still wear FUBU.
Oh, do they?
For us, by us.
One of the things that I've studied and I write about is the fact that people who do the investigating with and can identify what is happening with cheating or backstabbing, they've either lived it or they feel like they're going through it. Therefore, their awareness level is on super high.
Self-healing prophecy. I mean, that's a lot of therapists go into the field to try to heal themselves. Yep. And I agree with that. I think that's a very, very, very sharp observation. And I think the same goes for advice. Like whenever we're trying to give advice to our listeners or to each other or our guests, I think we're trying to give advice to ourselves. And that's what's fascinating about the human psyche and about stories is even though we're not trained, licensed professionals, we are comedians who take our craft seriously. Mm-hmm. A part of that is reflecting real world experiences. And so we've definitely had some guests want to trump things up, but we want to keep people as grounded as possible because that's what I think is the funniest.
Mm-hmm. But see, that's relating with people because comedy can't happen unless you relate with it. And I think that's one of the reasons why I feel so comfortable in listening to your podcast is because you there are times I feel happy about it. Other times I feel uncomfortable. Other times I'm going, oh, really? Someone I know is doing this.
See? You're welcome.
Yeah. Where's your tip jar so I can drop something in it real fast?
We need to tip you. Look, we give money to people who say nice things about us. I'm kidding. There's no money exchange. But I will say we are so excited to keep getting into this series because as we get our flow, we're starting to figure out that sweet spot, how to really get the most out of our guests, how to really give our audiences a piece of us because we're hearing great feedback from people and getting a lot of people who want to come on the show or send in questions. And so we invite our guests and listeners to engage with us, share with us their learnings or what they've learned about their own relationship. For instance, like you just said, Arrow, it's like, I think that is our goal, is that people learn not to go through what our guests have been through or what we've been through.
Would you say that cheating and backstabbing is an addiction to excitement and the agony of defeat?
I would say so. I think a lot, from the stories I've heard, like let's say some friends of mine, they'll tell me, oh, I'm like in the mood to cheat. And I'm like, that's weird. It's not like, oh, I'm in the mood to go buy.
I'm in the mood to cheat.
Yeah. She was like, oh, I'm so bored. I just want to go cheat. And I was like, that's messed up. Like, go read a book or do something else other than, one. She was like, I like the feeling. I like the feeling of, him not knowing what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's crazy.
It's secrecy. But I think, for me, super red flag, obviously. But like, how can you get those cookies off without hurting someone? Mm-hmm. How can you feel like you are, doing something like maybe just say, this is my time to do me and be with the girls. And like, you don't have to know. Maybe she's looking for mystery in her life. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't try to solve these problems, but like, if somebody is always looking for that excitement, I'm like, what can you heal? And that's where we bring in and later on, and we go through with relationship experts to say like, here's our take. I think, yeah, she is totally addicted to that excitement, but like, what does a real relationship expert think?
Mm-hmm. I would love to hear a show with a 75 or even a 7-year-old man or woman who says, look, before I transition, before I pass away, I need to talk about that moment when I was in my 20s and 30s, because you're talking about healing. I think there's a lot of older people that are grumpy old men because they did it and they don't know how to forgive themselves.
Oh, wow. Sure. Yeah. If you know any, send them our way. First of all, 70 better not be on their way out. I'm looking for 90-year-olds who are with it. Okay. 70 is the new 50.
Yes.
But we definitely try to have a diverse, group of guests on all different ages. We've had someone, in their 60s, someone in their 20s. We need a 70, 80-year-old, because I do think that they know how to make the bones in their closet, the skeletons in their closet dance.
Yeah. Where can people go to find out more about you guys, as well as finding out more about this podcast? Because this is a life-changing podcast, and I'm hoping that it creates the kind of conversation where people can come together and say, okay, I was one of them. I was either a victim or I was. Wait, is it if it takes two to cheat, aren't you both victims?
Oh, interesting question. We like to not use that victim word.
Okay.
But survivors, growers.
Okay.
Wow.
Where can people go to find out more about you?
We are on iHeartRadio podcasts, and we have Instagram, YouTube, all of those things. So Cheaters and Backstabbers, and I'm Kate Robards.
I'm Shari Diaz.
Man, you got to come back to this show anytime in the future. I mean, my God, we're just barely scratching the dang surface here.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for having us, Arrow. We love that idea. I like the name Arrow because it's like Cupid, striking your arrow.
Well, you guys be brilliant today, okay?
You too. Thank you so much and have a great one.
Thank you.
Hey, good morning, sir. I should have him here ready for you in a couple seconds.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
I'm just letting you know you got 9 minutes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Go ahead and say hi to Arrow just so he knows he has you, please.
Arrow.
Hello and good morning, you guys. How are you doing today?
Ooh, good. I love your name and the energy. Let's go.
Let's go, Arrow.
You guys are doing something that I swear has got to be a major first in any kind of television history. And the reason why is because you would never see the professional wrestling world come together with all of their years of decades. You're bringing everybody to this one celebration of 40 seasons.
And you want to know what, Arrow? It was us that decided to do that. We got a lot of pushback, but me and Kaycee stood firm and we said, it's everybody or no one at all.
In all honesty, I can't imagine what it took really to bring everybody together because, I mean, away from the show, you've all got your own private lives. How do you bring those paths back into one?
So it's a great question that I think, when looking at these 4 eras and what everybody is going through to get there are so many individual hurdles. There's so many people here with families. There's so many people here with real careers, jobs. Not that this isn't a real one, because I guess it is mine, but there's just so many hurdles for everybody. And so everyone's battling something different. And the way that we all manage to kind of link up and make the timing work is really a miracle in and of itself. So the season is kind of built on the shelf of magic, and that's going to come through. And I hope everyone enjoys watching it play out.
Well, you guys are playing a real good game when it comes to keeping it connected to the social media world, because this coming Thursday, I'm going to be talking with the podcast of the challenge. And I hope to God you guys are invited on that podcast so that, you guys can continue sharing the inside out, the dirt, the action, the psychology and the politics that the challenge has to bring.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that's the probably the most effective way to be able to understand what is going on in the house when it comes to the politics and everyone's thought process and what's going on inside, because there's only so much that you can see from the outside. So I think it is really important, for the podcast and all these little inside interviews to see what is, the inside scoop of what's going on in this game and in this house. Because there is a lot that people do not see, of course. I mean, there's only so much that you can really air and film. So it is fun to talk about, and it does give the viewers a better understanding of what is happening in the inside.
Would you say it's a game of psychology, or would you say it's a game of psychology, or is it a game of just you've just got to be smarter?
Oh, all of it. All of it for sure. I mean, you gotta have some kind of street smarts. You gotta have some kind of, idea of how to communicate with people and so many different, characters. It's a lot. It is a lot. There's so many different aspects to this game.
So
there's IQ, there's IQ, there's EQ, and then there's CQ, and that is challenge intelligence. And it's a blend of the two of them with a little bit of something else sprinkled in. We can't quite put our finger on it, but we know we've all got it. So whoever's got the highest CQ is obviously going to do well, not only in this season, but in the game. And we've got 40 of the highest CQ possessors in the history of the franchise.
It's got to be like on everybody's head. Get rid of Johnny as quick as possible, because Mr. Bananas, he's too good at this game, and we got to get him out of here.
Well, I wish you were right, Arrow, but you're not. So no spoilers, but yeah, I don't know. Definition of insanity is, trying the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And unfortunately for me, we've got some insane asylum escapees. So I'll just leave you. I'll leave you with that.
But see, the one thing I love studying people and their reaction when they get with different groups, and I can't imagine what it's like with the different eras there. That it's like, they're not really supposed to get along, but they are getting along. But is it the game? Is it real? What's going on? I mean, you guys have got to be silent wolves on the sidelines and watch the entire picture.
I mean, yeah, it's interesting. It's because, you have different eras. Like Era 1, they have so much history with each other. Era 2, they've been doing this for a while, and they all have their history. It's like it's kind of like a game in itself. Like, are some of these people still friends? Are they still?
That's it.
Do they still have grudges from back in the day? Are they still? So that's a game in itself, trying to figure that out. But there is so much history, and these are all legends and goats, and I do feel that sometimes people are going to want to, be like, I'm the best. No, I'm the best. No, I'm the best. I know, I know this. You don't know this. So it's kind of like, and 40 people, it's ridiculous. It's a lot of freaking people in a house and playing this game. So, the past histories and everything that's going on with the eras, it's going to be interesting. It's very interesting.
Just bumping egos together, because it's going to happen. You guys are all very talented and filled with so much skill. When I talk, there's such a thing as I believe that it's called under the breath talking. Those are the conversations I love to listen to, because when you say things underneath your breath, you don't want to be heard, but you do want to be heard.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a fine line there, and that's one of those situations where each era truly does that metaphor in a completely different way. And the game has evolved to show each way. Era 1 obviously has about 430 years of collective experience on planet Earth. So they're going to be looking at this. They're going to be looking at this differently than someone like Era 4, who have created, kind of evolved with the game and created a new skill set in how they're going to have those under the breath conversations. So watching all of those strategies get put in a blender it's interesting. It's fun to watch even in the house, and it's going to be fun to watch on your TVs.
See, it's that different age group and skill level. That right there is one reason why I love to watch this. And the reason why is because they have got to go to the younger generation to get that new stuff. That means that they've got to go negotiate, and they've got to use the politics to get them to at least share something. Even if they don't join that era, just give me some dang knowledge, man.
Yeah, it's crazy because a lot of these I've heard from like the OGs saying like, man, you guys, like there is a lot of politicking. They, a lot of the OGs would be like, oh man, you guys have a lot of meetings. You guys are talking a lot, right? So it is a different style of game for the newer era. Like I'm coming from Big Brother. We're coming from like Survivor. We're coming from games where it's all about politicking. It's like, thinking of all these different perspectives and different moves on, what may need to happen. And I've heard a lot of the OGs from like Era 1 or 2 just saying like, man, like they didn't used to, they said it wasn't as intense back in the day when it comes to politicking and literally just all like the little ins and outs that you have to do in order to get through the game when it comes to voting and alliances and all these different things. So it is interesting all coming together. And I mean, I see how certain eras do move differently, and it's amazing to see like different game styles.
The challenge on MTV, it's coming at the perfect time right here at the end of the Olympics. We are all starving for some action, some competition, and some real good winning. So congratulations on being in the right place at the right time.
You got it, Arrow. Thanks for having us, my man.
Well, you guys
Arrow.
be brilliant, okay?
We're going to give it our best shot, baby.
Bye, guys.
Good morning, Arrow.
Hey, how are you doing?
Oh, I think you're on mute, Arrow.
Yeah, it's always on the bottom of my screen is what it is, and I have to sit there and I sit there and I hit it and it doesn't do anything, and I hit it and it doesn't do anything. Computers.
And they're always changing things around. Every time there's an update, all the buttons are moved around again.
Oh, my God.
My friend, you've got 10 minutes with, actually, hold on a second. It's 18. Yeah, you got 10 minutes with Fred Trump, so take it away.
Good morning, Fred. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic. I would love to be a fly on the wall at a Barnes & Noble or even on Amazon to see who's going to pick up this book and they're going to page through it because there's something in it for everyone. We all want to know. We all want to snoop. We want to do something with a book like this.
Yeah, it's the outpouring has been great. So it's been very exciting. If you told me a year ago I'd be on national cable stations and shows such as yours, I would have said, not really in my plans. But the book came together, basically to honor my dad, Fred, Donald's older brother, who was a real caring and charismatic guy. And my youngest son, William, who's 25 and has complex disabilities, is the most courageous and inspirational person I know. And he opened the door for me to advocate on behalf of the people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So that's important to me. And I realized in really thinking about it that I couldn't tell those stories without telling the story about my family, the Trump family, as complicated and sometimes cruel as it was, but also having to involve the lodestar Donald in it. And what I hope the folks that may consider buying the book is that it's different than any other book that has been written about Donald. It's not a journalistic piece. It's not a research paper. It's not by somebody that knew him for 10 minutes and decides to write a book. I was there during his formative years. He's the first person to put a golf club in my hand. I knew him during his school years. I knew him during his business career, which we shared. We didn't work together. I'd never worked for his family business. But but I was in the rough and tumble real estate world for 35 years.
Wow.
And I knew him during his political years and visited him often in the White House and was able to contact him pretty much any time I wanted to by phone. So that's how this book is really different than any others. And I think it's really a great story. It's not meant to be a hit piece. It's just a really good first-person accounting of my family.
Yeah, see, and what I love about it, Fred, is the fact that you're sharing your family history, because my parents didn't write anything down. And my interpretation of my relationship with my parents or my brothers, it's completely different. I mean, I want this book to be an inspiration for people to pick up their own writing instruments and share their stories. No matter if it's good, great, bad, in the middle, it doesn't matter. Just share the story.
Yeah. Yeah, I was speaking with someone the other day, and they shared your sentiments. I mean, every family, and I use the word complicated, that could be a positive thing, but every family has, the same dynamics. And, this I just thought was an interesting vehicle for me to tell the story, and also first and foremost to advocate on behalf of the disabled.
How did you lay out the book, and what were the decisions that went into that, or was that all in the editing department?
No, it was interesting. I have the reputation of being a really good storyteller. So I sat down with a writer who I'd actually known for a number of years. And when we chose our publisher, Simon & Schuster, one of the choices was Ellis Hennigan. I said, that's really crazy because I know Ellis and I think Ellis is fantastic. And we spent, it's actually a pretty, I still can't believe it. We did this book from the minute I met with Simon & Schuster, two Zoom calls, which took place right before Christmas 2023.
Wow.
Started writing the book second week of January. We did the audio book, which I read because Simon & Schuster insisted that my Queen's attitude and voice needed to be there. We did all of that, finished the editing, books ready to print by June 8th.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, a lot of Coca-Cola and Twizzlers. Let me put it that way. If there's such a thing as red dye number 2 or 9 or whatever, I'm in trouble.
So now that you've had that ability to sit on that microphone with those earphones, does that inspire you to want a podcast? Because, I mean, once you've been bitten by that bug, you can't shake it.
Yeah, I here's the thing. I'm a technological social media moron. You say podcast to me. I've done a few. I've done the Enemies List. I've done Bulwark. I've done Katie Couric. They're all really cool. And I could see me doing that. I have topics galore. I just don't know the bones about how to get it up and running. But yeah, no, it's something I would love to do. My wife doesn't necessarily love this trait, but I love to talk.
Yeah.
So it would be something I would be interested in.
One of the things that I find inspiring inside your pages is that you don't feel like that you're living in a shadow, that you physically, it's like everybody is important here. And I love that because, when I first initially picked up the book, I was thinking, ooh, we get some dirt. And it's like, no, that's not there.
Yeah, it wasn't meant to be. In fact, opening my mouth too much sometimes was a bad thing. And I insisted during editing that stuff get taken out because I didn't want it to be a gossipy book. And believe me, there's plenty of gossip, much of which everybody has heard. I didn't want it in my book because that, in my mind, that would have cheapened it. And I didn't want that.
So then where do you grow from here? I mean, because now that you've got the book out and now that people are going to be talking about the book and experiencing it and seeing a completely different story, I mean, it's like you can't go away from us, Fred. You got to give us something else because like you said, you are a storyteller.
Yeah, I'm thinking of options. I'm trying to get through this first couple of weeks of intense media stuff. And again, it's, speaking with someone like you is a real pleasure. Doing some of the cable, it was great. I love it and I feed off of it. I just have to think of the right platform for me to, again, match my political junkiness with the advocacy that I want to do.
Is there going to be a time where people will get to go into the cutting room so they can see what you had to leave on the floor? Because like you said, you had to edit stuff out.
Look, yeah, there was stuff left out, but the gossipy stuff, no, I'll never get into it because it's hurtful. And I had to get used to that as a young adult and an adult hearing the crap. I just am uncomfortable with it. I don't like it. Donald sort of feeds off of that stuff, and good for him. Not me. Yeah. So yeah, lots of. It's interesting you say that because I guess it's a longish book at 350 something pages. I finished editing it, and all I could think of is, oh, I should have put this in there. I should have put that in there. Wow, what a great story this was. Why didn't I do that? I think just a timeline that we had to work with, and maybe too much caffeine from Coke kept me away from putting everything in.
Well, your experiences with, why didn't I put that in there? That's exactly what a songwriter goes through too, and that's why songs evolve, and they truly believe in that, and they go back in the studio and they redo different things. I mean, you're just experiencing a creative life. Yeah,
all of a sudden I was in the rough and tumble real estate world for 35 years. So yeah, there was certain creativity, and that's why there was a big part of marketing and sales in my industry, what I was doing. And now I'm trying to take those lessons towards my authorship, if you will, and just my second career. It's very exciting. I look forward to what's coming next. I was talking with my wife, Lisa, the other day. I really should get cards made up because I'm meeting so many people that I'd like to stay in touch with. I can't just shout my number out and have them put in. I said, what do I put? It used to be Fred Trump, executive vice president, so-and-so real estate company. Now, is author good enough? Storyteller? Met fan? I don't know.
Oh, my God. I'm just so proud of you for doing this, and I'm glad that you did it in the very tasteful way that you did. Now, the question is, does this make you a daily writer in the way, do you keep a journal now? Just because you know how this world is. There's so much content available that we're forgetting our own personal journeys.
Yeah, I'm not a journal kind of guy, unfortunately. Maybe it's just even in my advanced age, I still have a hell of a memory. But you're absolutely right, and it's a good point. I do write notes down on my little laptop and send it off to a file. So yeah, I've kept up. And what's great is I have 3 terrific kids, my daughter Andrea and Christopher, my oldest son, and of course William. Andrea is the social media maven. She's a great brander. She works for a branding company and has for years. She's the one running my Instagram account. I still don't even know how to get on it, but I have to sometime.
You got to come back to the show anytime in the future, Fred. You would fit so well down here in the South with that little Yankee little accent you got going on.
I love the South. I used to date a girl from Greensboro.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, you be brilliant today, okay, sir?
You too, man. Have a good day.
Thank you.
I don't.